Let's talk about the iPhone 18 Pro Max leaks and why I'm not buying the hype. If you've seen headlines promising a seamless glass aluminum body, a hole-punch display with under-display Face ID, a 24MP selfie camera moved to the side, full satellite internet, a 2 nanometers A20 chip, and even a foldable iPhone Ultra launching alongside it. Slow down. These rumors sound exciting, but a lot of them clash with Apple's design playbook, manufacturing realities, and the laws of physics. So here's a grounded, point-by-point reality check on the iPhone 18 Pro Max leaks. What might actually happen by 2026, and what's almost certainly wishful thinking. First, the seamless glass aluminum body claim. It looks great in renders, but bonding large, curved glass surfaces directly to metal without visible breaks creates huge challenges. Different thermal expansion rates, drop shock stress, antenna performance, and repairability. Apple moved to titanium frames on the 15 Pro to cut weight and improve durability. A fused glass aluminum shell that gets thicker and heavier would run against that momentum. Yes, a bigger battery could fit a thicker chassis, but it would likely make this the heaviest iPhone ever, and Apple just spent a year bragging about lighter phones. Could Apple refine the edges, smooth the transitions, and make the frame look more unified? Absolutely. A truly seamless hybrid shell that's heavier than anything before. Unlikely. What about those new colors? Deep red, light brown, bright purple. Apple experiments with finishes every cycle, but color rumors are notoriously unreliable until very late in the pipeline. Expect 1 or 2 new finishes that photograph well, complement titanium or aluminum, and fit Apple's premium palette. 3 bold new colors at once? Maybe, but colors don't confirm any of the core hardware claims. Now to the display. A top left hole punch camera with Face ID hidden under the screen using micro-transparent glass. Here's the issue. Apple's entire iOS layout is built around symmetry, the status bar, and the dynamic island. They turned the pill into a brand identity across iPhone, marketing, and even third-party app design. Apple typically keeps signature design elements for several years, not 2. A random top left hole punch would break UI balance and push elements around the status bar. Very un-Apple. Under-display Face ID is more plausible than an under-display selfie camera, because Face ID relies on IR sensors and a dot projector. That can work through specialized layers, but those layers still affect brightness, uniformity, and image quality in that region. Apple will not accept color shift grain, or moire around status icons, or a selfie camera that looks worse than today's. If Apple hides sensors, it'll keep things visually centered and clean, not lopsided. The camera rumors get even wilder. A 24MP front camera, relocated to the side, a variable aperture system, and a 3-layer sensor. Let's unpack that. A front camera moved off center? That destroys eye contact in FaceTime and makes framing awkward. Apple obsesses over symmetry and human factors off axis. Placement is almost a non-starter. Variable aperture on the rear camera can help depth of field and low light, but it adds moving parts, thickness, and complexity. Apple usually squeezes more out of larger sensors, better lenses, and computational photography before introducing mechanical systems that add failure points. Could we see a limited dual aperture like some Android phones once had? Possible, but not guaranteed. And far from a lock. A 3-layer stack sensor from Sony is believable. Apple's been working toward faster readout, better dynamic range, and improved low light for years. But supply, yields, and costs have delayed advanced sensors before. If it happens, it'll likely debut quietly as next-gen stacked sensor. With a real-world story faster shutter, less roll-in shutter, cleaner night shots, not just buzzwords, a dedicated physical camera button. That's one of the few rumors with legs. A pressure-sensitive capture button has been heavily discussed for earlier models, and it fits Apple's focus on video and spatial capture. But if it arrives, It'll arrive before the iPhone 8 and by then, it won't be new just. Improved dot connectivity is where the leaks go off the rails. Full satellite internet on a phone sounds amazing, and it's not happening the way people imagine. Apple's emergency SOS via satellite works because it's low bandwidth, short bursts with guided messaging under clear sky. True broadband satellite internet requires much bigger antennas, more power, and line-of-sight reliability a pocketable phone can't guarantee. Direct-to-cell standards, NTN, are evolving, and you might see richer satellite messaging, or limited data in the future, but streaming, gaming, and video conferencing over full satellite internet from a handheld in 2026. Not realistic. Then there's the C2 5G modem. Apple has been trying to ship its own modem for years, but delays have kept Qualcomm modems in iPhones, and that supply agreement extends around the iPhone 18 timeframe. Could Apple brand an internal modem C, something when it's ready? Sure. But a mystery C2 modem with dramatic real-world leaps. Networks, not just modems, limit most people today. Expect incremental speed, power improvements, and better carrier aggregation, not miracles. On performance, the rumored 20 built on a 2 nanometers process by 2026 is plausible. TSMC's N2 timeline lines up, and the typical marketing numbers around 10 to 15% higher performance, roughly 25 to 30% better efficiency match foundry claims. But remember, those gains rarely translate one-to-one to your day-to-day. Apple often spends efficiency wins on new features, brighter displays, or better camera pipelines. Expect a faster neural engine, smarter on-device AI, and smoother workflows, not a night and day jump. The iPhone 18 Pro Max will be powerful. The question is how Apple uses that power. Now the big swing. A foldable iPhone Ultra launching alongside the 18 Pro Max. Apple has almost certainly prototyped foldables. But Apple ships products when they're better, much better than what's out there, not just competitive. Today's foldables still wrestle with crease visibility, panel durability, hinge wear, dust resistance, and battery density in thin enclosures. A liquid metal hinge sounds cool, but it doesn't make the crease vanish. UTG, ultra thin. Glass is improving, but there's no miracle material that gives you rigid glass clarity with foldable flexibility and zero crease. If Apple's first foldable arrives soon, it's more likely to look like a compact tablet that folds small, think iPad mini territory, than a daily driver iPhone replacement. Launching a foldable iPhone Ultra next to a mainstream iPhone 18 series, that's a massive supply chain bet and a support nightmare. Possible someday, highly improbable on the rumored timeline. The staggered launch Play Pro, Pro Max, and Ultra in September 2026. Then a regular iPhone 18, an iPhone Air, and a budget iPhone 1 6 months later doesn't track with Apple's naming or cadence. Apple already has say for budget. Air is reserved for iPad and Mac. 6-month split confuses buyers, disrupts the upgrade cycle, and duplicates marketing spend. Apple occasionally staggers a few weeks for supply reasons, but an intentional half-year split with new names? Very unlikely. So what actually sounds plausible for iPhone 18 Pro Max by 2026? A cleaner front with smaller visible sensors, maybe. A reduced dynamic island or under-panel Face ID that preserves symmetry and image quality. If Apple hides it, it'll be invisible and uncompromised, not offset. Continued camera improvements, larger stacked sensors, better optics, smarter HDR, faster readout for video, and pro features that leverage a stronger ISP and neural engine. A refined capture button would make sense. Battery life gains driven by efficiency, not just battery size. Apple will avoid making the phone noticeably heavier again unless energy density substantially improves, materials and finishes that look premium but keep weight in check. Expect refined edges, improved coatings, And tighter tolerances, not a fragile showpiece. Smarter connectivity, better 5G efficiency, Wi-Fi upgrades, and expanded satellite messaging capabilities. Not broadband from space, but more resilient. Communications when you need them. A 20 on 2 nanometers with meaningful but measured gains, especially in on-device AI for image processing, speech, and personalization that doesn't leave your phone dot and the foldable. Apple will launch it when they can deliver reliability, battery life, software polish, and a crease that doesn't dominate the experience. If it happens near the iPhone 18 era, expect it to be positioned as a new category with a clear use case, not a rush ultra tacked onto the iPhone lineup.